So what we're going to do is we're going to check on the honey, see if it's ready. And if it's ready, then here in the next few days we'll start extracting it. Pretty exciting. Hoping that we'll get some honey this year. It'll be our first time. Okay. All right, so we got our smoker and we got one glove. We'll see what we can do with that. All right, let's go see what we can get. So what we're testing here for is just to see if we've got enough honey to harvest here. You can see down in there all that honey that's in there. Inside there, there's a bunch in there too. Yeah, so when they cap it off, it keeps it all contained. And they're still working on this side a little bit. So that's cool. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I think we're ready. We can get. I think most of these look pretty full. Today's an exciting day. We are going to extract some honey from our hives. We've been waiting for a long time for this. We caught our first swarm a year ago. We actually lost that swarm, but we picked up a few others. And we checked on them the other day, and it looks like they're ready to at least have some honey extracted. We got this honey extractor. It's a manual one. You can get motorized ones as well. And so we'll show you how this works. We bolted it down to this heavy, really thick piece of wood so that it doesn't wobble. And we'll show you how this goes. Okay, so here's the thing. You see this? So this is a full frame. And that's what this is made for. This is a super frame, which is a shorter frame, and this basket doesn't fit this, but I think it'll work. Just to fasten it to the edge, and I think that'll work fine. But the idea is you spin this around, and then the honey through centrifugal force is removed from the frames, and then I believe you have to flip these around, but we've never done it. Flip these around and do it both sides to make sure you get all the honey out of the frame. So I'm going to take one of these frames. This has been abandoned, and we'll use it for replacements. Got this little honey puller. That was a good purchase. Keeps your hands free to be able to brush these bees off of here. All that work. All right, once you got the frame, just want to clean it up a little bit, just to get the extra beeswax off of there, so it'll sit down nice and good on the other frame. Just want to get the extra off. We'll take the cap off when we get it inside the shop, but just want to get it cleaned up a little bit, get that extra in there. Well, that's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And then put them in this tray so that we can hopefully get the rest of the bees off of there. We'll get this partially empty, and then we'll put we'll take the box off and we'll put this on top, so that gives them some place to go. Because right now they don't know where to go. They've got this bottom one full. They're saying, hey, you're taking our whole house out of here. We don't want to do that. But we got to get it light enough to be able to, which it might be now. We got to get it light enough to be able to pick it up. Or be able to separate it. But this is some good stuff here, so we're going to take it. We'll leave them the bottom. You got to leave some for them. Get through the winter. Just got done taking out the old frames out of the hives. We cleaned them up, took them out, put them in these super frames over here so we can haul them over to the shop. We replaced the frames over there with new frames, new supers. We'll see how they do. We don't want to have too much space there through the winter, but we want to give them something to work again, start building again into. We put the lids back on them, put frames back in them, so they're back to having a home they can work on. And we're going to take these frames into the shop and we'll extract the honey from them, and then we'll have frames for the future. We could replace them and put them back. We'll see what happens. But I've already got frames, existing frames I was able to put in there, so we really don't need to do that. And then we'll just use these for the next time. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take, we got a bucket here for our scrapings. Finally got most of the bees out of it. And we're going to just take this this knife, and we're going to use it to very carefully just scrape the wax off of here. And so if it's not getting it all, what you can use is this little uncapping tool. So this just takes the remaining amount of wax, and you can use that as well to free up these little honey pockets. And yeah, just want to very so lightly get it kind of free of the wax, and do the other side, get it pretty clean, and then we'll stick it in this. Hold on a second here. Stick it in this honey extractor. This is a 2-frame honey extractor. Now it's meant to be for a large frame, so I'm going to use this rubber band to kind of keep it in place while we spin it. And then, so there's one. Now we'll get another frame. We'll get a second one in here. Put the lids on them. And make sure our bottom is tight. Then we'll take this here and we will spin this. A couple minutes. So we bolted this down to the ground. It gets a little bit wobbly. And the bolts are working good. Now let's just take a peek in there, see if it's working. We'll see if we need to make any adjustments here. Okay, smells like honey. So I can see that the outside of those frames is pretty empty. Takes a few minutes. You got to spin this thing for a few minutes, both directions. You got to put them in. You got to flip the trays around, spin it again. make sure all the honey's out. You want to get it all out as best you can. You don't want to go through all that work and leave half of it in there. All right, so you can see here, the outside of the one we just did, we extracted all the honey. The inside still has the honey in it. So we're going to flip that around and put that side on the outside of it. Get it from both sides. Put our nice rubber band around it. And then we'll use this side. Same thing. It's gone from this side, but still there. So we'll flip this around, put this on the outside, put our lid back on, rest on this side. I'm feeling we're going to get a couple gallons, maybe, at least. I don't know, we'll see. Just in a few frames, 5 or 6 frames, we've already got quite a bit. We've got another 20 frames to go, or so. All right, so the honey and the honey pieces and a few bee wings and stuff come through the honey pot, strains into this double strainer. So you get out the little pieces and the bumblebees that snuck their way into the frame. And looks good. Drain out all that goodness into this bucket. Very slowly going through this strainer, which tells me that it's a good strainer. To check on that. Cool. Okay, this has been straining for about a minute out of this barrel, and it just now started dripping into the bottom. So it's a double strainer, picking up all the little bits and pieces of wax and bees and wings, going through this strainer. It takes a minute or so to get into the strainer below it, and then if it makes it there, it strains into the bucket into pure liquid gold. We'll see how that works here in a minute. Right, so here's what we've done so far. It's like past 9 o'clock at night. We've been at this all day. Honey takes a long time to strain. That's what we've learned. So we've got a bunch of honeycomb there in this bucket that is just like the pieces and shavings and mash and everything that come off of the caps of the comb. So we're still draining that, but we took it off of the bucket because we got about 4 gallons of honey out of those 3 super hives. And while we were draining it, we had a few bees land in there and they got drunk on honey and they're stuck in there. So we're going to strain it one more time. All that's really in there is a few remnant pieces that snuck by and a bees that snuck into there. So nobody wants a bee in their honey jar. So we're going to strain that into this bucket here we just cleaned out. And then you can see what that looks like. Like I said, it doesn't happen fast. And if you can see down in there, that's just pure raw honey in between the crack there. It's the golden goodness. Okay, so we got most of it out here now. We're gonna get this last little bit. And this is kind of a darker golden brown. I think this is the result of later in the season, honey can be a little bit darker in the fall than it is in the spring. And see the last little bees in there. There's a dozen or so. I guess they did the work. We're not going to worry about them contaminating the honey. Okay, so we'll get the last little bit of this out, and then once we're done here, we'll put this mash back over the top of this bucket, get the last remaining honey out of there overnight, get most of it out anyway, and then we should end up with about 4 gallons. And then, so 4 gallons, that's like, let's see, 2 pints to a quart, and so that's what, 8 pints to a gallon, and we got about 4 gallons. So we'll have about 32 jars of honey out of this. So not bad for our first time around. You know, we'd love to have gotten a lot more, but we ended up having 5 hives. By the time the season was over, we ended up with 2 hives. So we're happy with that. First time around, pretty exciting. We'll show you the jars of honey getting filled and the final steps here tomorrow. Okay, so we got our bucket of honey here. I think it's about 4 gallons. We got our jars, we got our lids, and we're going to start pouring honey into these and see how many we get. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that's our total harvest. We ended up with about 34 pints of honey, which is a little over 4 gallons. We've taste tested it. It tastes awesome. It's way better than that Costco organic honey that we compared it to. We did a little taste test, and hopefully everybody else likes it. So that's our video this week. We appreciate you watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And until next time, have a great day. That camera guy doesn't like that. It's a sticky business.